So here we are. We have reached the end of recording. I have finished recording track number 9, The Gift, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But it's taken a while. It's taken longer than I expected, predominantly because I haven't had time to get in the studio and do my work. It's a challenge when you're just here by yourself, and it's not your full-time job to find the time to get that 4 or 5 hours to sit down and actually create. But The Gift is done. I am pretty pleased with it. It's designed to be a song to finish the album, and it is a relatively simple song in the sense that it just has a few chords, and it has guitar, bass, vocals, a little bit of drums, but a lot of orchestration. And it's something I wanted to do here in this track, was to play with lots more orchestration. And so it kind of works loud, quiet, loud, but the loud part is orchestral, not guitars, so to speak. Kind of like, that punk feel, but it's got a twist to it. It goes along with my goal when I started this album of trying to do things differently than the last one. And one of them here was to play with a little more orchestration. But right now, let's talk quickly about The Gift. The Gift is just shy of 5 minutes. And it is verse, 2 verses, a chorus, a bridge, 2 verses, chorus, and out. It's got an intro in the front. So let's have a quick look at that just to see how that all came together. So let's talk about The Gift. The Gift itself is drums, vocals, guitar and bass, lots of orchestration. The music box has 2 notes in there, predominantly to announce verse 2 and 4, and then synthesizers. To go back, the drums come out of Addictive Drums. The vocals, I have a main vocal, and then I have a backing vocal in the chorus. I have a choir that I picked up out of Spitfire, and then a spoken word piece. I really struggled with what to do in the bridge here, and finally I determined that I wanted it to be a spoken word bit. So then I had to sort of find the right thing to put in there, find the right modification to it, clip it, take it apart, put it back together, that kind of thing. And then I laid a choir over it. What you see then down here is, for orchestration, I have the Spitfire Frozen Strings. I think this is the long one. And then I have the Frozen Strings again, which is a short one, so it's kind of pizzicato. I have brass, which again comes out of Spitfire Audio, and then a solo cello here and there, a trumpet, which predominantly is picking up that loud bit at the end of verse 1 and 4, and then a bassoon, which picks up the loud bit out of verse 2 and 3. In the bridge, I'm using Native Instruments session strings, music box out of Labs, and then I have 2 synthesizer pieces that are out of my Microkorg, which is kind of like a toy, but I like it, which is ironic since I have a couple of other real synthesizers. And then a couple of tracks that come out of the OP1 field And that's kind of it. If we were to just start it so you could kind of hear it, you can hear guitar come in at the intro with the piece out of the OP1 field behind it. And now we're going to start the verse. So,
regret is a unique reflex.
You can hear the bass come in too.
At first I must digress a bit.
Come the strings.
Partners sailing the universe.
So that's a rough idea of how the vocals come together. I mean, they vary by verse. The chorus itself is the only place that has the drums. And then, as I said, the bridge is the one that has spoken words. So I'm trying to keep it interesting, but at the same time, I'm trying to reinforce a message that is in the vocals, in the lyrics. So where do we go from here? I've got 9 tracks recorded. As promised, we're going to talk about taking these rough recordings and turning them into a professional album. And there's a process that I'm using, you may not be using it, but I'm using to get there. The first thing I'm going to do, not today, but eventually, when I get another chunk of time, is I'm going to go back and go through all 9 of these tracks again. And what I do is I kind of make a grid, and then I write notes. What's working, what's not working, what needs re-recorded, what needs moved. And also, I make little notes about mixing for me, how I might want to mix it. And I go through all of these, and then I also then go through and fix them. So I get them all roughly the way I want. That's pass number 1.5. The second pass I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and do a rough mix of everything. And the reason I do a rough mix is that way I can send that rough mix to the mixing engineer / producer, Ian, in this case, and give him a feel for what he's got coming so that he can slot the right amount of time for us to do this. And then we're going to make a schedule, and we're going to sit down and do it. And what does that mean? Well, you'll get a chance to see that a little bit. But what that means is that he will listen to the rough mixes, and he and I will sit down and listen to them all together. And I'll be able to tell him, this is what I'm trying to do here, this is what I'm trying to do there. And usually I'll write down something so that he has something to go by. And then I'll probably go away and let him take a stab at a mix. And then we'll get back together and we'll talk about them. And, I'll give him my comments. Well, that kick's too loud. Can we, boost this? Can we put a little more grain in the vocals? That kind of thing. And then we'll have a mix. And then it'll be off to mastering. And that's another whole other story. So, that's what's ahead of us. And with any luck, right now, I'm hoping a month and a half and we will have mixes for mastering, and that'll be something else. But as promised, I also want to show you my new bass pedal board, which I used on the gift and wished I'd had for the other tracks, but I'm not doing them again unless I hear it and say, I hate this bass, and then I will do them again. So, off to the bass pedal board. So here is the bass pedal board. It's a lot smaller than the guitar pedal board I have. This is the guitar pedal board, or at least its current state of the guitar pedal board. It's got a tuner, it's got a compressor, it's got overdrive and distortion. That's what the red snapper is, in case you're wondering, which is actually a really nice overdrive pedal. I think it sort of mimics a classic Boss overdrive that you really can't get new anymore. And then from that, it all goes into the tremolo, which is the vertigo pedal, and then I have a whole bunch of delays. I have a lower, which is an atmospheric delay. I have the RE20, which is, the space echo that everyone knows about. I was fortunate enough to find one. It's got the classic DD3, and then the Chase Bliss Mood, which I haven't used as much as I would like to, but I am convinced and committed on my next album to find a place for that sucker. And then last, like some of you, I invested in a Nada clone for fun, the JS pedal that you build. And I use it as a boost pedal at the end of the chain. I've tried it behind the reverb and in front of the reverb. I like it better before the reverb than after the reverb. And as I said, it makes a decent boost pedal. Bass pedal board. Okay, bass pedal board, as you can see, is smaller. It's more focused. It's actually based on a pedal board that I saw Tom York use at the Smile. It's not the same organization as his, but a lot of the pedals are the same. And it gave me a really thicker bass sound. Part of it is the bass that I used at the time, which is the Guild semi-hollow body bass with the rubber strings. But, it's got the Cali 76 compressor, and then it's got a couple of overdrives. It's got the plumes and the interstellar overdrive, and last, the Echo Dream. And it all goes through the SGT DI, and that all goes directly into the interface, and I've been really happy with it. And it all sits like all the pedal boards with the pedal power supply underneath. So I was very happy with how this turned out. Much more successful than trying to do plugins and get the sound that I was looking for. In fact, if I had trouble boosting the signal, I'd even drag the Nada clone over. I suspect I could do that. But right now, with everything here, I'm pretty happy with it. The SGT DI has a preamp on it, so it gives it a little boost too. So, that's the bass pedal board. Well, I hope you found this fascinating, or interesting, or acceptable. Doing your own album yourself, being your own recording engineer, your own instrumentalist, your own orchestrator, has its moments. The good news is it's certainly less expensive than finding yourself in a studio, although I'm sure that many of us would have loved to have had Steve Albini, God rest his soul, as a producer, recording engineer in our time, but such is life. But in the meantime, what is good about it is that it allows those of us who our bedroom producers, bedroom recording artists, to get our music out in such, quickly, relatively quickly, and get it out into the world and be creative. And like, the novelist Alan Moore would say, it allows us to inhabit another world, a world of our own making. And any fame or fortune or recognition we would get is just gravy. But inhabiting a world of our own making, separate from the world that we have day to day, is certainly worth it. And with that, cheers.